You gonna tell me about where you grew up?
You've got some balls on you to ask a Veneran about that.
I figured you'd have the balls to talk about it.
I was born after my home world was destroyed, if that's what you're wondering. As you know, my species are what you Solars would call an aging population. That's fancy talk for absolutely fucked.
At least you were lucky enough to survive.
Oh, for sure! Lucky! I was lucky to spend years getting smuggled back and forth from one dying, disconnected colony to the next while we waited for the Imperium to stop hunting us. Our entire species slowly suffocating. The vote to let us live came too late. Most of us had already joined the scum of the galaxy or fallen prey to them. Pirates, mercenaries, slavers. They all had a good go at the survivors of Venera.
I know how you feel. Solars went through the same thing. Twice, actually. Before New Vegas and after it fell.
Twice? Captain, are you trying to turn this into a dick measuring contest over our tragic origin stories?
Hey, I didn't mean to step on your sympathy card.
It's okay, Captain. Like you said, it's luck, innit? I managed to join up with the right people. Gornagoth saw my potential and I fought my way to the top of the Dreadfleet. And now I'm here, a former queen taking orders from an alcoholic drug addict with daddy issues.
Daddy issues? Me? How do you figure that?
You talk in your sleep. By the way, what's with your accent? I've never heard a Solar talk like that before.
I grew up in the Koala district of New Vegas.
What the hell is a koala?
I've only seen them in drawings, but they're mean little dim-witted cunts riddled with STDs that fuck about all day, shitting themselves and fighting each other over these leaves that get them high or something. Furry little buggers.
For a moment there, I didn't realize they were animals. I thought you were talking about other Solars. You like my decorating? Retro Solar style is all the rage nowadays. Wealthy collectors pay extortionate amounts for original pieces of art such as these.
Art? A crusty old skull? Neon stripper signs? Antique porno discs? And what's this? Mila Red Riding Hood? Ugh, we got Blacknet access to infinite 4D filth. Who actually faps to these oldies?
Must you be so disparaging about your own culture? These relics tell your people's proud history. They're treasures from a bygone age when you were still a noble and united society holding fast against the repression of the Imperium. These were passed down from generation to generation, symbols of creative expression through freedom from tyranny. Everything here's from my personal loot and salvage collection. Prodigium's high society types are quite keen on them, and the Dreadfleet was quite keen on raiding their vaults. What's this you're giving me now? MC Fuck Menu version 3.0?
The MC stands for Mary Celeste.
Yes, you absolute knob. I gathered as much. I'm curious, though. What sort of updates did you make from the first two?
Mostly room-specific stuff.
Like the jump-in butt muffler wonder stuffer, I see. Get your tailpipe worked while your front end takes the steaming hot vibrational force of a fully engaged coil compressor during a warp gate hop. Absolutely fascinating. Captain, if you want to know how to please me, it's actually quite simple. When we fuck, you will call me mistress. Do what I say, and exactly when I say it. Or don't. But if you disobey me, you will be properly punished.
Greetings, Barkeep. Heard any rumours lately?
Listen, you yellow-bellied, piss-swelling, sorry excuse of a man. Does this look like a fucking RPG tavern to you? Do you think you could just drag your filthy sack in here and start asking me questions about something so inane as rumours? I bet you want a fucking bed for the night, too, you destitute wanker. Who the fuck do you think I am? Some kind of dimwit barkeep that will spill every secret in the galaxy for a few goddamn shillings? Please, I have standards. I don't spill secrets, and I don't fucking do rumors. Now turn around slowly, back the fucking hell up, and try again.
Fancy a drink to celebrate our newest recruit?
Oh yes, I noticed we have a bona fide Cloy starlet on the ship. Nicely done, lad. When's she going to stop by the bar?
She said she's busy.
Let me guess. She's been spending the majority of her time on target practice and doing her hair? Give her time, Captain. Ella was on that pretentious excuse for a planet almost her entire life. Cloy culture is ingrained in her. She might only be a little different from them, but small changes mean a lot when you're dealing with a society that homogenous.
I don't think I'll ever get over how insightful you are for someone that enjoys cutting wankers to shreds while merrily laughing.
And I don't think I'll ever get over how you're able to practically pull off miracles while being on basically every drug I've ever heard of. Some things, no matter how adverse, are not mutually exclusive. By the way, here's your fucking pint.
Got any fun or sexy stories about your Dreadfleet days?
Too many to even count, Captain. The amount of debauchery we got up to back then makes the Mary Celeste look like a blimmin' church. No offense.
What about this then? How'd you become queen?
Ah, now there's a story of which I'm particularly proud of. Gornagoth came up with a plan to raid a luxury cruise ship, and it was my first mission as the captain of my own squad. I was hoping it would be the moment I could prove myself, but that's a hell of a time to end up right in the middle of an Imperium trap, let me tell you. They had an entire battleship ready and waiting for us. We didn't stand a chance, so I had to do something about that. There's a funny thing about those Imperium ships, though. They've got all the firepower in the world on the outside, but almost no security to speak of once you've boarded them. I mean, sure, they all have defense systems that can detect someone in battle gear or a spacesuit coming at them, but we Venerans can live unprotected in the black for hours at a time. I stripped down, grabbed a sword and a grappler, had my squad open the airlock, pull a hard turn and toss me toward the bridge. You should have seen the look on the Admiral's face when my fine naked ass landed on his window. Or the one he made when I started cutting through it. Or the one he made when I started cutting through him and his entire crew. I took down an Imperium battleship all by myself. No pirate had ever done anything like that before. I became a bit of a legend, and Gornagoth became convinced that I was the one to take command of the Dreadfleet. He retired and left me in charge.
If everyone knew what a fucking terror you were, how'd the mutiny ever get started?
That's down to that pathetic little shit, Tybalt.
I have no idea how that Tealy bastard managed to become a pirate in the first place, let alone take control of the Dreadfleet.
Being able to cut a man 5 times your size in half with a single strike is a hell of a trick. One that allowed him to carry quite the reverence with the rest of the fleet's lads. He was popular enough to keep around, but I should never have trusted him. That wanker was truly unstable, but he was just smart enough to play by the rules, at least when he knew someone was looking. A word of warning, Captain. The most dangerous villain you will ever face is one that is aware enough to hide the worst parts of themselves until they don't have to anymore.
I know this might be a bit of a sore subject, but I'm wondering if we could talk a bit more about your past?
Why is that nonsense so important to you?
I'm trying to figure out how such a well-spoken Sheila can also be a psychotic and sexy killer machine. I mean, it just don't add up.
I've never given that a good think, I suppose. My past. Might as well start with parents that I never knew.
Your parents never made it off Venera?
Mum did. Me old man, well, there wasn't enough space on the few transports we had. Women and children first and all that. Mum was with child at the time, so she got a seat. Pops didn't. It was a miracle we even made it past the blockade. Casadora's forces were relentless. She gave birth soon after. It was the last thing she'd ever do. That's me, an off-world runt. I don't even remember who took me in after they were gone. Bloody hell, I don't really even remember other Venerans much. We all scattered in different directions. Less chance of them finding us that way, you know? I spent most of my childhood being smuggled from station to station, running from everyone, everything.
They hunted you?
They bloody well tried. I was old enough to remember when the Senate finally passed a resolution that guaranteed us the right to live. Rather kind of them, wasn't that?
Didn't Erak have a hand in that?
Ironically, at that point, I was being sheltered by an elderly Lancunian couple. They were getting ill and couldn't keep up with me anymore, so they sent me away to my final destination before my life of crime began, the Sacrarium Abbey.
Did you just... Wait, you grew up in the Sacrarium Abbey?
Indeed. I was training to become a Lady of the Vale.
You? A Lady of the fucking Vale?
Those nutty Lancunians were hardcore believers, and the whole reason they were protecting me was so that I could serve as some kind of conversion miracle, to prove the power of the Vale could protect us all, even a Veneran. But that's a story for another day. I've got to clean up here before we turn in. Come see me later, eh?
Can you tell me about your days at the Sacrarium Abbey?
Well, it was hilarious how on board the Imperium was with the whole thing. One minute they were trying to erase my species, and the next it was all about sympathy and concern and how it wasn't my fault, and they could change us.
Based on the state of the Killi before me, I take it they failed so fucking hard.
Too right they fucking did. I played that little charade for a while, and things were actually okay. I excelled in my studies, especially fencing. I said all the right things, sang all the right verses. Nobody batted a bloody eyelid. But then I hit maturity, and once a Veneran's clock starts ticking, well, let me tell you, things got proper messy at the fucking Abbey. I began to execute my delicious revenge. Oh, Captain, let me tell you, it was a nightmare for them. I went on a cherry-popping rampage of massive proportions and fucked pretty much everyone there, the headmistress included. The gossip spread across the Abbey like no wildfire I've ever seen. And trust me, Captain, Venerans know a thing or two about fire.
Wow. Wow.
You have no idea how gratifying it was to see this stoic monument to purity suddenly corrupted from its very core by just one woman. Of course, some refused to give up until I was converted, but the High Priest got together and found a more efficient solution for everyone involved. They planned to make an example of me.
They were gonna off you?
There is no place in the Vale for harlots. Luckily, just before it happened, the Abbey was raided by corsairs from the Dreadfleet. They cut through the token garrison of Imperium Lancers without any difficulty. I had something rather valuable with me when the pirates and looters burst through the inner cloister. A simple box holding the only piece of Venera I had left. The leader of the raid tried to relieve me of it, and I said no. He laughed at me, so I relieved him of his arm with his own sword. Long story short, I fought off the rest of the pirates until Gornagoth himself arrived. He made everyone stand down so that he could fight me one-on-one.
You scrapped with Gornagoth?
Oh, Captain, it wasn't much of a fight. I was no match. I thought he was going to kill me. But instead, he just extended his hand. He later remarked that the sight of a Lady of the Vale holding a saber aloft while covered head to toe in blood made him realize that I didn't belong there. That's when my life really began. After all those years of repression, I just fucking exploded. The clan gave me everything I was missing. The Dreadfleet became my life, and eventually my religion.
What was in the box?
I'm sorry?
What was in the box you had with you?
If you don't mind, Captain, that's something quite personal. I'd rather not talk about it now.